Yeah, it's Cyno The Ism, top tier activity business. So yeah, in my recent video, I was saying how I ended up getting jammed up with my partner, the partner that was taking money from my bitch when he was supposed to be putting money on my books. Yeah, I was talking about him and how I ended up linking up back with him and we just started doing shit after my granny had passed. I stopped giving a fuck, like, you know what I'm saying? And I was just doing, you know, the regular hood shit to get some money, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was that with me. I ain't want to work, and I was just doing certain things I ain't gonna speak on. But yeah, so I ended up violating my probation. Like, really, before that though, in the midst of that, I feel like the girl from Florida, mama, was like trying to get me jammed up and trying to break us up and shit like that. So I ain't gonna fast forward this. I want to put this in, then I'm gonna move forward. This just was a situation that occurred when I was on probation, and I think that she did it. I don't really know who else would do some shit like that. Like, it was her or her husband or something like that that did this. But long story short, I was on probation. My PO had called me up, like, you know what I'm saying, we need you to come in. So automatically, I'm thinking like, I didn't, you know what I'm saying, something that happened and all that shit like that. My stepdad, like, you need to be ready. So I fucked around and put on a couple pairs of shirts, a couple t-shirts, couple, you know what I'm saying, a couple pairs of boxers and a couple pairs of socks and shit like that, just in case I got locked up. Cause you want to be prepared. You don't want to go in there, motherfucker. If you can be prepared, you want to be prepared for when you go to jail. You don't want to go in there, motherfucker, assed out and, you know what I'm saying, just be fucked up. So if you can be prepared, throw on you a couple t-shirts and a couple pairs of socks and a couple pairs of boxers, and shit, you will be straight. Unless the CO's in there on some bullshit, but 9 times out of 10 they'll let you slide through with the extra shit if they know you, type shit, cause they already know how it is in there. But yeah though, so what it was, right? The thing is, I get in the probation office, right? And my PO, she a black woman, cool as fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? She was cool. Like, I forgot her name, but shout out to you, cause you did, you know what I'm saying? Salute, cause you know what I'm saying, you held it down. You kept against it with me. You know what I'm saying? You could have been a bitch and locked me up right then. But yeah though, so long story short, she was like, you smoking? And I just looked like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she was like, you smoking weed? And I was like, I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't really know what to say. I'm like, she's like, just tell me the truth. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I ain't know what to say. But then she was just like, well, it's somebody that's writing me talking about you smoking weed, and if you keep smoking weed, then they gonna call up, report me, talking about I'm not doing my job, and I need to get you locked up for smoking weed. So I'm like, yeah, she pull out the letters. Like, she pull out the letters on me, like, yeah, this the letter. They don't put no address on it or nothing. They don't put no address. They just put the motherfucking PO address. So, and they, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, our folks gotta watch, you know what I'm saying, who they tell they on probation to. These folks will fuck around, find out you on probation and try to get you locked up. Just because they jealous or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if anybody ever been through no shit like this, but this shit had me so mad. Cause you know what I'm saying? I'm like, it's over now. I'm like, I'm smoking weed to cool my nerves, and you know what I'm saying? I'm going through so much shit. Motherfuckers hating on me, trying to keep me from getting money, trying to, you know what I'm saying, play with me with bitches and all type of shit. Like, man, this shit was crazy. So I'm like trying to smoke just to cool my nerves, and these people trying to take that away from me. I'm like, damn, I can't even cool my fucking nerves. But now, bitch, I don't. They put me through all type of shit, bitch. I don't gotta do no type of drug. I don't gotta smoke, drink, nothing. So it's that with me. I'm sober around here dealing with all y'all bullshit. So yeah, it's that. But yeah, back to the story though. The thing is, right? Um, she was like, yeah, this the letter. She was like, I tried to ignore it, but they kept writing me. They just kept writing me. I'm like, damn. She was like, yeah, they wrote me this one, they wrote me this one, and then they wrote me another one. And then my supervisor started to get on me, like, you know, what's up? Why? But what type of shit is that though? Like, who writes a fucking somebody probation officer and tell them, oh, he's smoking weed? Like, if you don't get him locked up, it's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna call the police or some shit like that. That shit blew me. Like, that shit blew the fuck out of me. So long story short, she was like, you gonna have to prove that you ain't on drugs. She was like, I'm gonna send you to rehab. And that shit tripped me out. I never been to rehab, ever. So shit, I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go see what they talking about. I'm not addicted to nothing. I'm not on no heroin or no crack or, you know what I'm saying, cocaine or nothing, but you know what I'm saying, fuck it. If that's what I gotta do to stay free, I'm gonna go do that. So she put me on color code and I fucked around and had to go to rehab. I'm like, damn, and that shit cost. That shit cost like I forgot, but that shit costs money to go to rehab. I don't got no. I'm barely. It's hard enough for me to motherfucker pay my probation fees. What the fuck? That shit had me irked. Like I was hot about that shit. Like man, y'all playing games with me. So I fucked around, go to the rehab, just to motherfucking keep my PO cool. So shit, she fuck around and well I'm in there with them, straight drug addicts, straight meth heads, crack heads. You know, they on coke and, you know what I'm saying, Molly and shit like that. We always telling our story. You know what I'm saying? I can't give y'all all the stories, but if you been to rehab, you know how y'all sit at the table and y'all tell, you know, why y'all at rehab and shit like that. I had the motherfucking most minimum story. I'm like, shit, I just smoke weed. Some people looked at me like, you don't even need to be here then, you just smoke weed. I'm like, yeah, this what I gotta do though. Like that's what it is with me. Like I'm in here for somebody talking about I'm smoking weed on probation type shit. Like I just said what's going on. You're like, man, that shit crazy. Like I just felt out of place in that motherfucker being around them dope heads and shit. Like people really strung out and really fucked up, and these folks trying to send me to. I know she was just trying to really stop me from not having to get locked up, you know. But yeah, that shit blew me. Like in a little while after that, I just was thugging. Like I just, you know what I'm saying. I was on color code. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was on color code trying to deal with that shit. I had to pay that. Plus I had to pay pay my probation fees. I'm like, fuck this shit, man. I think me violating my probation and getting locked up was the best thing for me. Cause it was just like, man, that shit was too much. Folks ain't want to give me no job and shit like that. They was low-key hoping I fucked up on probation and got locked up. So fuck it, they got what they wanted. And me, I wasn't even tripping. I went, did that big, came back home. It was nothing to me. Like, shit, I learned some shit, got in shape, you know what I'm saying? Like, did what the fuck I was supposed to do. But long story short, though, when I violated probation in 2014, like, that's what had happened. They had sent me up the road. I had to do 5 years. But when you on state, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get good time and all that shit. So I got good time and I was out. I ain't get parole or nothing. You know what I'm saying? I already had good time, so I only had to do like a couple years up the road. But what the crazy part is, was I waited like 6 months to get shipped off to prison. So the thing is, I never been to prison, so they up there talking, man, when you go to prison, you gonna be straight, bro, this and that, woo woo wop wop. I'm like, yeah, I'm tired of this county shit. I'm so ready to go and, you know what I'm saying, have my leeway, be able to do more. So shit, long story short, in Huntsville and Hunt, in Alabama, period, the fucking prison system is overcrowded. Like, I'm pretty sure it's probably overcrowded everywhere, but out there it's like definitely overcrowded. Like the shit is absurd. So shit, me, I'm still thinking, I'm not knowing, I'm green. I'm like, man, I'm finna go to motherfucking Limestone and chill out. Like, you know what I'm saying? So we pull up the Limestone, you know what I'm saying, the transportation, we pull up the Limestone, and they, you know how they just call, niggas know how they just call certain people name, woo da woo wop 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 wop, woo da woo woo woo, yeah, you going here, let's go. So shit, they never called us. And it was just like a group of us, like, that they never called. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, where we going? They fuck around and take us to Greenville, Alabama, to a whole nother county jail. And that shit was absurd to me. That shit was basically like 24-hour lockdown. Like, we could come out the cell, but it's a little ass dorm. Like, we couldn't do shit. Like, that shit was crazy. Then they locked us in there with other niggas from other states and shit, from other cities. And, like, that shit was so crazy. We just knew we was going to prison. Like, it was crazy shit going on in there, too. Like a nigga had died in that motherfucker, too. That shit was crazy. Like, that shit irked me. Like, what the fuck? I couldn't believe that shit. Like, for real. Like, niggas, like, that shit was dead in that motherfucker. Like, y'all know who I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? The nigga that died in, well, it probably was a couple niggas that done died out there, but yeah, the nigga that died from Hunt in Greenville in the county jail, yeah, I was in there with them when that shit had happened. Yeah, like, that shit was, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say his name, but we was in there chilling though. Like, we was vibing at first, like, you know what I'm saying? We was all cool. It wasn't no problem with the Hunt niggas. It just was like, we just was fucked up because we thought we was finna go to prison. And that shit had us irked. Like we was like, man, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? The only thing was good that they let us still get like our little packages and shit. Like they still let us get our packages. Like we was able to get like our boxes for Christmas time and shit like that. So we got our sweats and peanut butter and jelly and you know what I'm saying? We got what we needed in that motherfucker. Like we still was good. They low key still treated us like we was in prison. But it was like, man, that shit was fucked up. One time this nigga tried to hang himself in front of everybody. That nigga tried to hang himself in front of everybody. So it was like, damn. That dude like literally tried to hang himself. Like I'm like right there, just like, man, what the fuck wrong with this nigga? Like this nigga like, man, if they don't send me to prison, I'm finna kill myself. I'm like, man, what the fuck? Niggas in there fighting and arguing and that shit was just absurd to me. Like I was like, man, I gotta get the fuck on out of here. So we was there like 13 months though. I did half of my bid in there. Like I did half my bid in that motherfucker. Like that shit was crazy to all of us. Like we didn't believe. Like I'm pretty sure they probably still got hunt niggas in Greenville right now. But I'm like, damn, that shit it was crazy though. So it's like, long story short, I did most of my bid there. Really, I did most of my bid in Greenville. And like after them 13 months, they had shipped us to regular prison, and I did like, however, like 6 months at the real deal prison. Like I did like 6 months there. Like so, it was just like it was what it was though. Like I got that shit out the way. I knocked that shit out. I EOS. EOS mean inner sentencing. I don't got to deal with them folks no more. And since then, I've been trying my hardest not to end up back on probation or end up back in prison. So I'm trying to get myself together. I got businesses and shit to start. I got shit. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know I rap and I sing. I do this shit. Like nigga, they trying to interfere with that shit and trying to stop me from getting my shit together. So y'all be thinking that it just be, I already said that, but I'm gonna say it again. Y'all be thinking that it be a nigga that just ain't shit, that they, you know what I'm saying, they see a nigga broke or going through something and they think that nigga just ain't shit. He just ain't no hustler. He just, you know what I'm saying? People is really out here trying to prevent people from being successful. People really trying to stop people. People are really jealous and envious of people and they want to see them in a bad situation. They don't want to see you prosper. So y'all remember that. Y'all could do what y'all gotta do to be successful, but people will still try to hinder y'all. So keep that in mind. Y'all gotta stay focused and don't get tricked out of y'all position. Stay on these streets and do what y'all gotta do. Some shit y'all just gotta let go. Some shit y'all gotta handle later on. Factual, no fallacy. But long story short though, I had got out in 2016. I'm finna go ahead and proceed from when I got out. But yeah, factual, no fallacy. It's that.